Okay, so I'm live already. I can already tell. Look at my hair, guys. Okay, so I know it's Easter weekend, so look at me. At least I cleaned the house. I look fairly clean. At least I cleaned the house. Um, okay, so today is Easter Monday. Not really take a day off. So I'm just gonna do this little quick snippet for my video blog, The Culture Proof. It is a social studies detour into the social groups that are most vulnerable to criminals. Wow. I'm a little bit of a criminal. Not. All right, so I was thinking susceptible to criminals. Maybe three. Okay, there are three. All right. And you might be one of them. You might be one of those in one of those groups most vulnerable to criminals. The first group, all right, and this is a rare breed, are the rich kids who lack expertise. All right. So let's say you're only 20 years old. You're only 24 years old, but you're rich, like your parents are rich. So you're at that age where you think you know about the world, but you really don't. So like, 24, even 30, even 35. So your parents are rich, like totally wealthy, but you are not the best in the world at what you do. You still got a lot to learn, right? You are vulnerable to criminals. That's one group. Very rare. How many people come from like extremely wealthy families, and yet, around 24, you graduate, you're out there in the world as an adult, up to maybe even 40, 35, mid-30s. You think you know it all, you do not. You're vulnerable to criminals. The second group, vulnerable to criminals, are so like you're middle class, but you have a lot of debt. You're vulnerable to criminals because you are middle class, right? And the funny thing with having debt, you never blame yourself. You overspend, you overconsume. You never blame yourself. That's the funny thing with people who get into a lot of consumer debt, and yet they're middle class. Like their income, they work in an office, they have a good job, solid education, just like me, just like everybody else. And yet they're in a lot of consumer debt. The thing with consumer debt is they never blame themselves. They are also vulnerable to criminals. You don't blame yourself for consumer debt. You want to cut corners, right? That's group number two. Group number three, and this is where a lot of sort of like young, good people are, right? The group is the group that's sort of like starting out on the right path, right? You're not earning that income yet, that you expect from education. Like you just graduated, you got a good degree. It's even been like maybe even 10 years of working after your degree, but you're quite not like you're not quite bringing home the paycheck that you thought you ought to be when everybody else on TV is, right? You're still striving for that sort of like middle class permanent lifestyle. You're also vulnerable to criminals. Those are the three groups. You think, oh, maybe DECA is vulnerable to criminals? They're not. And I'll tell you, the DECAs, the illegal immigrants that join gangs, they're criminals anyways. You know what I mean? They've made a decision to bad guys. The DECA that have made a decision to go to school, get a good job, all that stuff. You know how those people live? They sort of like live above the fray. They don't want your drama. They don't even want to know you. They just want to finish school, get a good job, do a good job. You know, sometimes you talk to some of those immigrants. I'm not saying that A students all the time for the rest of their lives, right? After that, they don't want to know you. They don't want to get involved in water cooler gossip. You know, when you talk to them, you sound like a loser because they're so focused, right? They're just above the fray. The ones that join criminals for life, whatever, right? Right. So those are the three groups. So not necessarily the poor are vulnerable to criminals. They might become criminals, like, you know, but the ones that are committed to the path, not necessarily vulnerable criminals. I'm talking about vulnerable to like scams and stuff, is those three groups that I mentioned. You would have to rewind this tape and watch it again. So this is Easter weekend. I did not go to my parents' house or anything. I hang out with my family. I just stayed in my castle here. I look like this. Okay, so I made my appearance. I'll see you guys later tomorrow when you guys have to go to office to work and go to school. And of course, you saw today I did my Catch a Fire profile. If you need help, whatever. Bye-bye. I usually charge a lot of money.